Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, where we unpack the most important political events shaping South Africa today. If you're new here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Let's jump straight into one of the most dramatic healthcare and constitutional showdowns the country has seen in years. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi has broken his silence after a major legal blow was dealt to President Cyril Ramaphosa over the controversial National Health Insurance Bill, commonly known as the NHI. This comes after the North Gauteng High Court ruled that the president must publicly release all documentation related to his decision to sign the bill into law. This ruling has reignited fierce debate around the NHI and placed renewed pressure on the ANC-led government just weeks before the general election. The judgment was the result of a court application filed by the Democratic Alliance, who demanded transparency around the NHI's formulation and legal foundation. Their concern that the bill may not pass constitutional muster and could be practically unworkable. And now, the High Court agrees, at least on the matter of transparency. The ruling mandates that within 5 days, the president must release the full record behind his decision to endorse the bill, including cabinet memos, legal advice, and internal communications. For the ANC, which has framed the NHI as a tool for achieving social justice, this legal turn of events is a serious political hurdle. But rather than backing down, Lesufi doubled down. In a bold and emotionally charged statement, he declared, "The struggle continues." He invoked the moral weight of South Africa's liberation history to affirm the ANC's commitment to implementing the NHI, saying, "Our people must receive quality healthcare regardless of their financial status." In other words, he's telling the country, this is about dignity, not convenience. Now let's take a closer look at what the NHI bill actually means for South Africans. Signed into law by President Ramaphosa in May 2024, the NHI aims to create a centralized, tax-funded national health system that provides free healthcare services at the point of use, whether you live in Sandton or the rural Eastern Cape. In theory, it's meant to eliminate the deep inequalities between public and private healthcare. But critics warn it's a ticking time bomb. First, there's the cost. Some estimates suggest the NHI will require hundreds of billions of rands to function effectively. That's on top of an already strained budget and a slow-growing economy. Who pays? Taxpayers. And while the government has yet to release final funding models, opposition parties and financial analysts are warning that either massive tax hikes or cuts to other services will be required. Second, there's the human capital crisis. South Africa already faces a shortage of doctors and nurses in the public sector. With many medical professionals threatening to emigrate or shift to the private sector full-time if the NHI is implemented in its current form, the system could collapse before it even begins. There are fears that healthcare standards could decline dramatically, especially if experienced personnel exit en masse. Third, there's the governance issue. Can the government really run a centralized healthcare system efficiently, given the widespread issues of mismanagement and corruption in public healthcare facilities across the provinces? The Auditor General's reports have repeatedly flagged wasteful expenditure in provincial health departments. So why should South Africans believe the same officials can be trusted with an even bigger, more centralized pot of money? Despite these concerns, Lesufi remains undeterred. Known for his combative style and populist messaging, he has positioned himself as one of the NHI's most loyal champions. He says the court ruling is just a speed bump in what he sees as a historic mission to correct decades of inequality. This is not just a bill, it is a moral duty, he insisted on social media. That kind of language is powerful, and it plays well with voters who feel left behind by the dual healthcare system. But critics say this is more about politics than principle. With the ANC facing growing discontent and fierce electoral competition from parties like the DA, EFF, and MK Party, pushing ahead with the NHI allows them to draw a clear line between themselves and their opponents. It says, We are the party of the poor, and we're fighting for your health. However, the DA is not letting go. Buoyed by their court victory, they vowed to continue challenging the NHI in court. They argue that while the principle of universal healthcare is admirable, the current model violates constitutional principles such as freedom of choice, property rights, and fair public procurement. They've also accused the ANC of rushing the bill for political gain ahead of elections, without properly consulting stakeholders or testing its financial viability. So what happens next? Ramaphosa's office must now comply with the court order and release all relevant records behind the NHI decision. Depending on what those documents reveal, the matter could escalate to the Constitutional Court, South Africa's highest legal authority. If that happens, we could see the entire NHI framework put under a microscope, with judges potentially ordering revisions or even declaring key sections unconstitutional. Meanwhile, political fallout is expected. Healthcare unions, civil society organizations, and medical associations are all watching closely. Some may join future court cases. Others may lobby Parliament to revise or pause the bill's implementation until further clarity is provided. Whatever the outcome, one thing is certain: South Africa's healthcare system is at a crossroads. The promise of free and equal healthcare for all is noble, but the road to that future is fraught with financial, legal, and logistical challenges. And this case, more than any other in recent years, reminds us that governance is not just about good intentions, it's about good decisions, backed by transparency, expertise, and accountability. So, what do you think? Is the NHI a bold step toward equity, or a reckless gamble with public funds and public health? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you found it informative, subscribe to the channel for more political breakdowns, and share this video with someone who cares about South Africa's future. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you next time.